Hi, I'm Shelley Wood, and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a long-sleeved shirt which will fit dolls that stand 7 3/4 inches or 19 centimeters tall, like this beautiful Lieutenant Uhura doll from Mego Action Figures. To learn more about Mego Action Figures, please look in the description below this video on YouTube for today's free pattern and to see a more complete list of dolls that will fit in this long-sleeved shirt. Please visit my website, shelleywood.com. There's also a helpful link to today's free pattern in the description below. Use the pattern to cut out all the pieces shown. For me, the spotted pieces will be my linings. Lay one bodice front on top of another, keeping right sides together so the pretty side touches the pretty side. Stitch around the bodice's neckline. I'm using a backstitch. Now, if you need help with the backstitch, I have a tutorial for it in the description below. Carefully clip your neck seam. I use Fisker's stitchers for clipping my seams. Again, there's a link to Fisker's stitchers in the description below this video on YouTube. Okay, now lay one back against another, keeping right sides together. Sew around the neckline, down the back closure area, and then about 3/4 inch from the bottom of the shirt, or 9 millimeters from the bottom in metric terms. Turn and stitch along the bottom of the back garment piece. Follow these directions for both backs, clip, and invert. So here you see me clipping, and of course you want to go very slowly. I just speed it up for your sake, but you want to take your time so that you don't accidentally clip through the seam. So the idea here is to clip away any corners so that you can easily invert it later. And by invert, I mean that you turn it right side out. Okay, so here I am turning my garment pieces right side out. And you can use a little chopstick to help you get the corners inverted just right. That's what I'm doing. After I turn it right side out, then I take that chopstick and kind of give it a little twist in there. Sorry, I went off the camera for a little bit. Press the seams. Now your front should look like this, and you should have two backs that look like this. Lay one back over the top of the front, keeping right sides together. Stitch them together at the shoulder. Here's a closer look at my stitches. Lay the other back on top of the garment front, keeping right sides together, and stitch them together at the shoulder as well. Open the shirt up like this and press the shoulder seams open. Flip the garment over to the right side. Align one of the sleeves with the bodice underarm. Keep right sides together. Sew from the underarm area to just shy of the shoulder seam. I'm using a backstitch for this. Again, if you need help with that, there's a backstitch tutorial link in the description below. Wrap the other side of the sleeve around to the other underarm like so. Okay, so you'll want to pull that sleeve over and join the underarm to the curvature of the sleeve. stitch from the underarm area to just shy of the shoulder seam yet again. There will be a gap at the top of the sleeve, like you can see where my finger is poking through. Gather the top of the sleeve as needed to allow the sleeve to fit snugly into the shoulder. Once it fits nicely into the shoulder of the bodice, knot your gathers and below the gather thread, attach the sleeve to the garment. Along the top of the sleeve, I'm using a backstitch for this, and I highly recommend it. Now your garment will look like this. Attach the second sleeve, following the same directions. Now your garment will look like this. Hem the bottom of a sleeve by folding once and then a second time. Your pattern has guidelines that will help you with the hem. Whip stitch along the bottom of the fold to hem. Need help with the whip stitch? Once again, there's a link to a whip stitch tutorial in the description below. Hem the end of both sleeves. Now your shirt should look like this. Flip it over so you're looking at the right side. Fold one sleeve in half like this. Sew from the sleeves hem to the underarm, and at the underarm you'll want to turn and stitch from the underarm down the side seam to just shy of the hem at the bottom. I knotted my thread about 12 millimeters from the edge. Fold the other sleeve in half and stitch this side seam again. As you can see, the bottom of the front still needs to be hemmed. Turn the raw edges of the bottom of the front inside themselves. Here's what I mean by that. So there's the back piece, here's the front, and I'm going to turn it in and whip stitch along this turned in edge. So once again, back, front, turn these in. Okay, kind of fold them inside themselves, and then you just start to whip stitch along that edge. Make sure the bodice back and front match in length. Once you've hemmed the bottom of the front, you still need to finish sewing the side seams. I used a back stitch for this. Here's a closer look. Invert the garment. And again, I'll use a chopstick to help me poke out those sleeves. You want to be gentle with this. You don't want to break through the fabric. In fact, I think part of the way I'm using the blunt end of the chopstick to make sure I don't break through the fabric. Sew some size 40 Dritz snaps down the back, or add a strip of 3/4 inch Velcro that you would cut in half the long way. And now you're ready to try it on a doll. Remember, for more free printable sewing patterns to fit dolls of many shapes and all different sizes, including this sweet little swingy skirt that I made, please visit my website, shellywood.com. Now, during the month of February 2024, shellywood.com is doing a special History of African Clothing for Black History Month, and as part of the event, I'm featuring music by Black artists with links below to places where you can purchase their music. So be sure to click the link in the description and navigate over to my website, shellywood.com, to learn more about African fashion and its history.